All right, students, welcome. We are about to do a super fast one-shot revision of your entire Class 10 ICSE economics syllabus. Seriously, we're going to cover everything you need to know right here and right now. So let's jump in.
So, here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with how things are made, then get into demand and supply. After that, we'll talk about markets, money, and banking, the huge challenge of inflation, and finally, we'll wrap it up with you, the aware consumer. Ready? Let's do this.
All right, first up, production. Let's start with a really basic question, How does anything actually get made? Where does it all start? Well, it all boils down to what we call the factors of production.
Think of it like this. The whole world of production is built on four main pillars. We split them into two groups. First, you have the primary factors. These are the absolute basics, land and labor. Then you've got the secondary factors, capital, which is like the tools and money, and the entrepreneur. That's the mastermind who brilliantly brings the other three together.
Okay, now this is a really key concept. Land is what we call a passive factor. Same with capital. I mean, think about it. A field or a machine just sits there, right? It can't do anything by itself. It needs an active factor, and that's labor. Human effort is the spark that makes land and capital actually productive. Without it, nothing happens.
Okay, so we figured out how stuff gets made. But what decides its price? Why does a phone cost what it does? Well, that's where two massive economic forces come into play: demand and supply.
First up, the law of demand. And honestly, this is something you already know from your own life. When something gets more expensive, what do you usually do? You buy less of it, right? Now, there's a slightly more advanced concept called elasticity, which just measures how much less we buy, but the core rule is that simple.
And boom, there it is. Price up, demand down. It's like a seesaw. They move in opposite directions. This simple visual, that is the heart of the law of demand right there.
All right, let's flip the coin and look at this from the seller's point of view. This is the law of supply. For a producer, it's a totally different game. If prices go up, they're thinking, great, I can make more profit. So they are way more willing to sell and produce more. And yep, just like with demand, elasticity also measures how responsive their supply is to that price change.
So the crucial point to remember here is that this relationship is direct. Price goes up, supply goes up. They move together in the same direction, totally opposite to how demand works. So we have these two giant forces, demand and supply, constantly pushing and pulling. So where do they clash? Where do they actually meet? Well, that all happens in the marketplace. It's the grand stage where buyers and sellers come together.
Now, not all markets are the same. It really comes down to competition. On one extreme, you have perfect competition. Think about a local farmer's market. Lots of vendors, all selling basically the same vegetables. No single farmer can set the price, can they? They have to take the market price. But on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have a monopoly. One single seller, a totally unique product. They don't take the price, they make the price.
All right, let's shift gears. We're going to talk about the lifeblood of the economy, the system that keeps everything flowing, money, and our banking system.
In India, you've basically got two main kinds of banks. First, there are the commercial banks. Your SBI, your HDFC, the ones we all use. Their primary goal? To make a profit. But then you have the big boss, the apex institution, our central bank, the Reserve Bank of India, or RBI. And its goal is completely different. It's not about profit. It's about the economic health and stability of the entire country.
And the RBI, wow, it wears a lot of different hats. It has the sole power to print our currency notes. It's the government's personal banker, it's the banker's bank, setting the rules for everyone else, and crucially, it's the lender of last resort, which means if a commercial bank gets into deep, deep trouble, the RBI is there as the final safety net.
But what happens when that money the RBI prints starts to lose its purchasing power? You know that feeling when 100 rupees just doesn't buy what it used to a year ago? That, my friends, is inflation.
Now, to be really clear, inflation isn't just a one-time price hike on a single item. The key words here, as you can see, are sustained and continuous. It's when the general level of prices for most things just keeps on rising over a period of time.
And inflation doesn't just show up overnight. It kind of builds in stages. It can start as a slow, manageable, creeping inflation. Then it might pick up to a walking pace. And then a running pace, which is when you start to worry, and if it gets totally out of control, you hit hyperinflation, a stage that can literally destroy economies.
Okay, let's bring this all back home. With all these huge economic forces at play, production, markets, banking, inflation, how are you, the consumer, actually protected in all this?
Well, the government gave us a powerful shield, and it's called COPRA, the Consumer Protection Act. Its entire purpose is to defend you from being exploited in the marketplace, whether that's through faulty products or just plain unfair business practices.
And under COPRA, you are armed with some fundamental rights. The right to safety from harmful products, the right to be informed about what you're buying, the right to choose freely, and very importantly, the right to be heard and seek redressal if something goes wrong.
And it's so important to understand that these rights aren't just for your own personal protection. When you actually exercise them, when you demand fair treatment, good products, and honest information, you're not just helping yourself. You are pushing the entire market to be better and fairer for everyone. And that's your power.
And just like that, that's a wrap on your complete Class 10 economics syllabus. We really hope this explainer helped you connect all the dots. For more deep dives into complex topics, make sure you're following us. All the very best with your exams.